Hey guys, this is Eric Metamar, here today to answer a question that's been troubling many of the people I talk to, many of the people who buy my courses, my students in my Wholesale Mastery Club, and that is the question of why is our market in the gutter? Um, After that, we're going to do a follow-up question as to what we can do as real estate wholesalers and real estate investors about that problem. But first, I'm going to define the problem. The first main problem that we have, as most of you know, I'm sure, is that our nation's economy is in the dumps, which is causing us to lose our jobs. Now, when you've got a load of people who are losing their jobs, of course, they can't afford to make their payments anymore. And when they can't afford to make their payments anymore, the first thing that they need to do is sell their home. But since there's already an abundance of homes on the market and a lack of buyers, then they cannot sell their home, so they face foreclosure. One of the reasons that the market is so far down and they can't afford to sell their home is because the banks are controlling a lot of the homes in the market, and they're the only ones who can afford to sell at such low prices. So here's where we're at. We've got a bunch of people who can't afford to make their payments, and they can't sell because the market is down, and then the market is flooded with foreclosures, and that drives the prices down even further. And since the banks are the only ones who can afford to sell at such a steep discount that the market now expects, because the entire market is lowered to a certain range, which no one's at because so many people have done 100% financing deals, even 90% financing deals. If you financed the house a year ago and put 10% down, your house is worth probably less than what you owe on it, which if you needed to sell would force you into foreclosure. And now the banks are forced to sell off their inventory at a discount because they are not in the business of holding on to homes, they're in the business of doing loans. And this forces the market down even lower, causing even more homeowners to face foreclosure. Now, this is where it gets tricky. You add the second foreclosure amplifier to this. I call it the foreclosure amplifier because it makes the problem, it exacerbates the problem, makes it even worse. That is that each homeowner who loses their home cannot buy another home because they don't have credit. They can buy with some of the investor things that I'm going to teach you, but as of the basic traditional financing, they're SOL. So for every home that goes back to the bank, not only do we gain a new home in the market, but we lose a buyer for that home. So we're losing potential there. This decreases the pool of buyers who are able to purchase and makes the home inventory grow even more, while the buyer pool shrinks even more, causing more homeowners to face foreclosure, which further exacerbates the downward spiral of our real estate market. You see how that works normally in a typical market. We've got homeowner A here decides to sell and moves up or down into a home, and that helps out homeowner B here, who moves up or down into another home, and the cycle continues. Well, in our market, we've got homeowner A here who can't sell. They lose their home. And when they lose their home, they can't help homeowner B over here because they don't have any credit. Because they don't have any credit and the pool of buyers is lessened, then homeowner B loses their home to foreclosure. So instead of a positive cyclic effect going, we've got a negative effect going, which is not a good thing. And then we've got the third foreclosure amplifier, and that is the banks are now in trouble because of the tremendous amount of foreclosures. So they're forced to tighten loan restrictions. And because they tighten loan restrictions, less and less people can afford to buy homes, forcing the pool of buyers that was already dwindling to none into even less because nobody can get approved for a loan. And since nobody can get approved for a loan, then nobody's buying homes, forcing more people to lose their homes to foreclosure, making them unable to obtain a loan. How is that for a really bad cycle? So just to reiterate, what happens is we've got a boatload of homes on the market and very few buyers. And when those houses go back into foreclosure or go into foreclosure because there's no buyers, then those people lose their house. Another home is added to the market, but another buyer is not added to the market. Another buyer is taken from the market because they're unable to obtain financing because their credit is shot from foreclosure. Now, what can we do as investors to help this? One of the questions that I get all the time, because I'm in the real estate wholesaling business, is there still a market for wholesalers out there? Are they still needed? And the answer is unequivocally yes. The main reason that wholesalers are needed now is because if you look at wholesalers as just a price point or something that you're going to do, you're going to sign a contract, maybe wholesalers are needed just a little bit less. But if you look at wholesalers the way that I do, I see us all as middlemen and the people who know people. That's normally what you do as a wholesaler. When you find a great property, you put it under contract at a discount price, and then you know someone who wants to buy a property at a discount price, and you play the spread in between. So we're kind of the connectors, the middlemen, if you will, of the investing market. Now we're facing a little deeper issue in the market, and we can't just assign over contracts because the pool of investors is less and less. But where there is a huge amount of potential is in setting up buyers who are unable to obtain financing with sellers who already have financing in place. Once we can set up these buyers who are struggling, and maybe most sellers are going to be able to identify with them, and in most market conditions, sellers might not be so open to creative financing, but our market sucks. So you've got a couple of good things working for you. You've got sellers who are really motivated to sell, so they're open to doing anything. You've got bankers who are more open and not going to call loans to do immediately because they don't they get their hands full with foreclosures. So as wholesalers or as middlemen, that's where I like to place us. We can go in and we're going to know who on the market has these properties that they have to get rid of that's open for creative financing, and then we're going to align those people with people who we know that are looking for creative financing deals because they've lost their credit. The reason that this gap is so important to fill is most realtors can't go in and do lease option deals. They can't go in and do land contract deals. They can, but it isn't going to pay them what they're looking to get paid. I'm a realtor, and I don't want I guess right now you'd do just about anything as a realtor to make some money, but there's a gap in there because you can't just sell a house on lease option. You're not going to make any money anytime soon. And then you've got homeowners who are going out of their minds because they don't know what to do with their property, so they're game for just about anything. So as investors, we can go in there, locate the people who need to buy, locate the people who need to sell, and the financing is the most important thing in there, that they could be open to some untraditional financing. And as wholesalers, we can move in there and connect the dots. I guess it wouldn't always be wholesaling per se, but I always looked at myself as a wholesaler as a middleman, and you still can be a middleman in there. And in fact, you can increase your profits tremendously. I don't have time to go over it all in this video right now, but I do have it laid out, of course, in my Ultimate Investor System. Woohoo! Imagine that. And I will be covering more on that in the future. Until then, I will see you on the other side. Thank you.